Hey guys, welcome to Thinking Out Loud, the safe space where I want to help inspire, uplift and empower. My name is Summer Mushaw. I'm in real estate, a content creator, self-care enthusiast, obsessed with all things beauty, and now the host of this podcast. This is our time to relate, understand, have a laugh, and hopefully take something away to apply to our daily lives. To kick episode 1 off, I'd like to introduce our first guest speaker. She's a wonderful mum of one. She's talented, she's a go-getter, creative, absolutely stunning, and my beautiful best friend of 10 years, Saige Dunbar.
Hello, thank you so much for having me on your first podcast show. I'm so honoured to be here.
I'm excited to have you here. If you were to tell me 10 years ago that we'd be sitting here doing our first podcast, I'd 100% believe you because we've always been outspoken and we've never had a problem saying what we want to say. We're just going to jump straight into today's topic. Do you want to introduce the topic?
Yeah, so today's topic is about all things friendship. And it's pretty relevant because, you know, we've built a friendship over the last 10 years. And I think you were like my very first real friend here in Brisbane. And yeah, you've remained my best friend.
We give them a little background of how we became friends. Or your version, because I've actually never heard your version before.
Because I don't remember. No, I do remember. I met Summer through my sister and also Carter. So when we all became friends, like it was the four of us, we were inseparable. The minute that we became friends, never left my bed.
We lived a street across from each other.
We connected on a lot of similar experiences. And I feel like in the beginning, I seen you as like a little sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, and my mum and dad pretty much started calling you guys daughters. Like that's how close we became.
Yeah.
And then pretty much inseparable. She is a cockblocker. No, ruined a lot of relationships for me, literally. But it's all good. Like, yeah.
Worked out for the best.
Yeah, worked out for the best.
What do you think the biggest lessons in our friendship has been?
Biggest lesson. Just allowing each other that safe space to like be themselves, to be vulnerable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just, yeah, safe, not just safe space, just space in general, to like be able to venture off and just have your own lives, but then also come back together and like always just, you've always checked on me. I think like one of the biggest lessons is that like this is a, should have thought about this question. I don't know. You start off because I need some time to think about that question.
Okay. Mine is evolving or adapting because we're not the same people that we were 10 years ago.
You're taking a dig now because there's something behind this.
I feel like we built our friendship off quality time. It was convenient that we were single at the time.
Yeah. Let's just dive deeper into that because before I got into a serious relationship, and I feel like a lot of women and men do this, they create like, you have friends, okay, and you have your friendship circle and you spend all that quality time with them. And then when you get into a relationship, the friends kind of get not pushed to the side, but you don't have as much time for them anymore. And I feel like because me and you spent every single day together without fail, like even we would just be, if we weren't together, we were on the phone with one another. Like that's just the way that we were. I think when you go from spending so much time with one person and then that time gets taken away from you, or that attention gets taken away from you, you kind of have to like, you get a bit lost with like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Or where do I go now? Like, I don't have my best friend there as much or as often as I want to have them. And saying that, I didn't do right. Like because I've never done that in other relationships. I've never ever cut off friends like that. And I didn't cut Summer off. It was more like me having to invest a lot of time into a relationship that was high maintenance. Recognize about you though through that time was that you were always there. Like even if I wasn't in the best state of mind, or even if I was like struggling mentally, you always showed up. Like even your mum. Like, I remember one time you and your mum showed up for me. And, like, that's, you know, like, you could have easily just said, like, this bitch, no. I don't want to have anything to do with this girl because she's not giving the same or reciprocating the same type of friendship that I am, or the love that I am, or the time that I am. And, like, you still did show up. Like, don't put this in there. Don't put this in there.
Oh, babe.
But yeah, when I came out of that space, like out of that toxic relationship, I really like realized that you need your friends around.
I made a choice early on that, okay, no matter what she's going through, I'm just going to be there even if I don't agree, or like even if it doesn't fit in with what I think's best for her. And that's why I had to really let you go off and be what you needed to be, because there could have been a lesson out of that for you.
But how did it make you feel every time I like pushed you away?
Oh, it was so hurt. The great thing about having our other friend, because I had heard, she understood, and I knew she had so much love for you that I could vent to her and she could then recenter my thoughts.
Yeah.
But I was very hurt. I had to learn early on that, oh my gosh, we've gone from every day to now she's got a partner. Crazy to think, because now that we're adults, and it was not only adjusting to you moving on with your partner, or, you know, growing in a different phase, but it was also us coming into adulthood.
Yeah.
And that's what I had to really adapt to, because I was also going through that change.
I think it was easier for me to cut people off because I knew, okay, and this is just being completely raw and honest. Like, every time I would vent to them and tell them, like this is going on or that's going on and I need you guys, or I just need to, like, talk to somebody, you know, like, your friends are going to tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. Like, they're just going to straight out tell you the truth. And I don't like hearing that. Like, I just wanted to vent. Like, that's all I wanted to do. And then, like, when your friends come to you, like, that you need to leave this person, it's the last thing that you want to do. So, like, unless I was, like, ready for that, then, you know, I wasn't really going to take that advice. But it's, I know a lot of people do it. A lot of women do it. I've got friends that do the same thing, like, that stay in toxic relationships, and, like, you give them advice, but you know that they're not hearing you. But I didn't realize I was going to be that person, like, that ended up being in a toxic relationship. But still, like, that's why I'm so grateful. Like, I'm super grateful that we remain friends.
Yeah. Like, I didn't think you were cutting me off because of something I had done.
I wasn't cutting you off, I was pushing you away. Girl, get it? It's not always been down times, guys. Like, just 7 years worth, no. Like, real good times before that. I think that because we had built that foundation within our friendship, like, of trust, of love and loyalty and stuff like that, I think that's what really helped to keep us strong when things weren't so, like, tight between us. And, like, we had some really cool memories, like, that we created. And I think one thing for me is that Summer's always been very protective, and I've been very protective of her. Like, within our friend circle, like, there's about 3 of us that are really super close. So there's me, Summer, and Nishant. And for some reason, we all kind of, like, balance each other out. I feel like Summer's the very loud, boisterous, happy, positive. But
Sorry.
Definitely. I think we're all beautiful in our own way. Nishant's very loud. She's also very motherly. Like, she has that motherly very nurturing. And she has the most beautiful soul too. And I just seem to be, like, the most, I don't know, kick back, but I can be very bitchy. That's just the way I am, like, very direct. And in a way, we're all very direct with each other. Like, we're always going to be very honest with each other, transparent. And we've been able to, like, go through these experiences with each other and just build, like, a very strong foundation within our friendship. Yeah. And I think that's one of the most important things within a friendship is to be able to build that foundation so that you can build it, like, to set that foundation so you can build upon it. So that when you do, like, experience tough times within your friendship, you can just overcome them because you know that person. You know deep down that person means well. And you know, like, deep down that your friend may be going through things, but it's just a phase. You know that they're going to overcome it. You know that person better than anybody. I think one of my only advices that I can give to, like, any friends that are going through certain or similar things is just to, like, keep checking on people. You know, like don't give up on your friend because they're not reciprocating the same type of energy or the same friendship. Like, really, you don't have to be there for them, but just check on them and just make sure that they're like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I did see this quote. This is something that really like resonated with me, and I think it's something that really reminded me of you. And it says, there's something so beautiful about having long-term friends that have witnessed multiple versions of you and loved you unconditionally through each version. And that's
beautiful, babe.
that reminded me of you.
Oh, thank you. She's only trying to make me cry on my podcast. Oh, everything's reciprocated. It might not be 50-50 at the same time, but along your journey, it never felt like I was competing or I was unsure of our friendship or of our love for each other or our energy or our loyalty, anything like that. I never felt like I was going without in our friendship.
Yeah. I think, okay, and this is just from my own perspective, like my point of view. When we weren't as close, it allowed you to find, like, not independence, but it allowed you to find, like, new groups of friendship circles. And then I really seen you glow up in that period of time. Like, you went from being, like, I'm not going to talk about your personal experiences, but, like...
Safe space.
Yeah. No, you really glowed up, babe. Like, in that period of time, I've seen you go from, like... What do you say, like a caterpillar to a butterfly? Like, you have really transformed into like a beautiful butterfly, and that's just on your own accord. No one else has put you where you are now. No one else has helped you along the way. Maybe your partner that you've met now, but like I truly don't think like you. I believe that you would have always met him, but I think that the journey that led you there was on your own. Like, you literally had to take your life by your own hands and be like, okay, I'm going to figure out things for myself. I'm going to have to like. I can't be so reliant on other people to like give me that security.
Yeah.
And I just need to like build something within your internally that made you a bit stronger and resilient as a woman. And then you've like stepped into like a whole new space or a whole new life. And I've seen like your whole life being transformed. And you've literally done that all on your own. Like, you didn't have your close friends around to like, you had us, but you didn't have us to like hold your hand. And so, like, it's been amazing to see your transformation. It really has.
Oh, thanks, babe. Thank you.
No, but we've been through some cool ass experiences, babe. Like, honestly,
10 years worth.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just gone by so quick. You have to love people for who they are, and you can't change people. And everything that they go through in life, it's meant to happen when it happens. And that's the biggest lesson that I learned from you, is that no matter what I would say to you, or even the same for me, like I went through some stuff too, and I wouldn't listen to anybody. Like, there was so many times where she would tell me not to do things, but I still went ahead and did it anyway. And so I realised...
Love.
Yeah.
Love makes you do crazy things.
I've grown wiser now, understanding that there's just a lesson and there's things in our lives that we have to go through so that we're prepared to receive the blessings on the other end. And there's so many blessings waiting for you, and I think that you've now grown too as a woman, and I think that you've realised that there's so many other things for you to be worrying about, and I can see a total shift in your energy to where your now focus is.
I definitely agree. I think that's just life experiences that have like literally taught you something. I think relationships are a lesson or a blessing. So they're either going to teach you something that you don't know about yourself, and then like that's what I've learned from like past experiences.
It's really important for me to also create boundaries for friendships. I've met so many friends that were actually seasonal friends. Yep. That just came into my life for a period of time and then they've left. Or friends that I've simply outgrown, or they've outgrown me because we've decided to go on different paths in our journeys, but we're just not spiritually connected, or we're not connected to a point where no matter what we do, like you and I.
You still love them. Yeah. You still wish them well on their way, but you just can't relate to them anymore. Hey?
Yeah. I'm okay with just shutting people out now. I'm okay to love you from afar. And love you and wish you all the best, but I don't have time for you anymore. Like, you know, because
they're not helping you grow, babe. Like if the friendship isn't helping you to be or allowing you that space to grow and to continue to be a better person, then they're just not really like the person that you need to keep in your life, if that makes sense.
You know, there's friendships that are only convenient or beneficial for what they get out of you. And I can pick up on that now. If you don't have pure intentions for me, I just don't have time for you anymore. And so
I think even before, so when I first met Summer, she's always worked. Like she used to work at this shoe shop in the like a retail store. Like it was an old lady, but it was like
I was giving old lady.
like no, but I've always known her to be a hard worker. Like, and I've always admired that about her. Even though she used to make me call in sick for her if we had gone out to the Vic, and that's fine. You know, we all do those types of things, but you've always been like a very hard worker, independent woman, well kept, always like taking care of your appearance. But you have always been really good in your jobs, like everything that you do. Like I've always known that you to be a leader. So like whether it be management, I've always known that you know how to lead a team, but you also know how to follow directions and always know how to like reach out for help if you need it. So when I started, because we all started working together, me, her, and another friend of ours, and we all stepped into management roles. Okay, but the reason why I'm bringing this up is because there's this saying, okay, what is it? Choose your friends. Oh, your friends are your future. So like, who you surround yourself with is the future that you're going to have. And I've seen these women as like, and I've always known that Summer and our other friends have been boss women. Like they basically have had so much ambition within themselves. Like whatever they set their minds to, they're gonna achieve. And so when you surround yourself with the best people who have the best intentions for you, you can only grow from that. You can only succeed within your own life. Yeah. And I noticed that when we all started like becoming super close around like super close friends, we all started kind of like, I guess, growing like and evolving. Yeah. In our own careers, like, and we all became retail managers. Yeah.
I actually love that because that was a quote that I wanted to share. You are who you hang out with. Yeah. And that's such a controversial topic to speak about because a lot of people think that they're so strong-minded in how they hold themselves. Yeah. But I'm such a big believer on you are definitely who you hang out with. You know, if you hang around the barbershop long enough, you'll get a haircut. Yeah.
Yes. It's show me your friends and I'll show you your future.
Yeah.
So that's very true, guys. Like you actually have to try and be around successful minded people, positive people, people that actually want to see you grow.
I did want to touch base on how the transition was with you becoming a mum. I think that's a big highlight in your life.
Hard. Definitely hard. Something that I always wanted, like definitely wanted to be a mum. But when I finally became a mum, like it was a shock. Like I actually experienced postnatal depression. Yeah. And when I look back at photos, like not long ago, of like after I had Winter James, I can see like the blankness in my face in photos. Like there's no facial expressions of happiness. So I think that lasted about 2 years after I had him. Like I really wasn't feeling myself. So it took me like 2 years to actually feel like myself again. And just to find my own identity again. Because I think that after like when you work, like when you love, like if you're a woman that loves working and that really is dedicated to her career, like that's the way that I see you're like that. I'm like that. So when you go from being someone who works full time, like, and loves your job and loves to get out and be independent, to a stay-at-home mum, it can really be like a hard transition. You kind of lose your identity in motherhood, but you don't want to feel like you're just a wife, or you don't want to feel like you're just a mum. You want to feel like you have purpose. Yeah. And so that kind of took me a while to like step out of and be able to find like my own purpose and something that makes me happy. Because once you become a mum, like you can't just go back to your full-time job again and just like, not for me anyway. I didn't feel like I wanted someone else to raise my son. Yeah. I wanted to be like a hands-on mum, and I wanted to be there for Winter James, like to see him go through all his little milestones. Yeah. But I also wanted to have my own independence again. So I had to like figure things out in a different way. And I think that's an amazing thing about mothers, is that we will do whatever we need necessary to fill those voids and to like do what we can for our children, but also for ourselves and for our partners. Like, we're just amazing human beings. And I think that those types of experience pushes you to like get to become resilient, or to become like.
What about IVF with Winter?
Safe space. I'm going to be very vulnerable about, because IVF is something that's very close to my heart, and it's no woman wants to have to go through a process that is you don't know if it's going to be successful or not. But because I really wanted to have children and I wanted to be a mum, I wanted to experience the joy of like being, or just seeing what's like something that I created, that's a part of me and who looks like me. So that's really like my drive to have children.
Yeah.
Then we started looking at other alternatives, which was either adoption, or I first wanted to try IVF, so that if that didn't work out, I would have looked down the road of adoption, because I had been on a waiting list for like a year to see a gynecologist. And then when I finally went in and seeing the gynecologist, she told me like everything's fine, like, there's nothing wrong. And I'm like, okay, well, I still can't get pregnant. And so I got referred to an IVF clinic.
Yeah.
And my first cycle, and that was successful. And then after I had Winter James, I did 4 more cycles and had 4 miscarriages. And because it's very taxing on the body, like it's not something that you want to keep doing, because you have to have eggs extracted through surgical procedure. And that's painful. I stopped. I decided I'm not going to keep doing this, because it's $10,000 a round.
Holy.
Plus $2,000 for the medication each round.
Holy. And how
they
many
give
rounds?
you different medication every single time. If it fails, they'll try you on something else. And so I did all up I did 4 rounds after Winter James, and I did 1 with Winter. So that's about 5 rounds of IVF. And that's, jabbing your stomach every single day all the way up until they put the egg back inside of you that's fertilized. And they end up in pregnancies, but then my body just kept rejecting it.
Yeah.
Because of the stress that I was going through with my relationship. So I stopped doing IVF. They don't really give you any health advice to treat whatever it is that you're
going.
Whatever medical condition that you have. They don't really give you advice on how to treat that.
Yeah.
All they are there for is to get you pregnant, and that's through the medical procedures, through science. When I started to go to another doctor and I started to focus, she said to me, you don't need to go through IVF. What you need to do is focus on your health internally. So she started me on my weight loss journey.
Yeah.
She also started me on healthy eating, specific foods.
Yeah.
And to eliminate certain foods that I guess are harmful for your body.
Yeah.
And then she also always check my blood levels and stuff like that to make sure like that I'm not lacking in certain things like vitamin D or like iron or just your liver function, your thyroid. I've been on this journey for now 2 years, and I swear it's cured everything. Like I started to get, and this is a bit TMI, but I started to get my periods more regularly, like every single month on the dot. I've never had that in the last 7 years.
And you went through that. That was the first time that I've heard about IVF, and I never really understood what that meant until I like looked into a little bit, or like I heard from you.
Whether you can get pregnant or you can't, it's nothing to be embarrassed about. And a lot of pressure is put on them by their partners.
Yeah.
To give them a child.
And now, so after you went through your IVF journey, I was very mindful of saying to people that have been together for a while, oh, when are you having kids?
Yes.
Oh, when are they coming? You know, when am I going to be an auntie? I stopped because I was that person. I'm so guilty of it, for going to my friends and be like, oh, when are you having kids now? You've been together for, this X amount of time, not realising that there's an underlying issue going on behind scenes that you're not going to share that openly with people. And so I think a big eye opener for me is always be mindful of
And
what you're saying.
they must get sick of hearing that too. Like,
yeah.
it's insensitive. I think we got to be a little bit more like sensitive to people's, I guess, own life choices. Some people genuinely don't want to have kids. I know.
It's me.
I think you'd make a great mum. An amazing auntie. You've got so much years ahead of you to be even, just focus on like your freedom while you can.
Yeah.
Because once you have children, it's.
Well, I wouldn't mind having a little Orlando.
Oh,
they're cute. Yeah, he would be cute.
Oh, he's so. Oh my goodness, I can imagine. You'd be an amazing mum.
Yeah.
Honestly, you're the best auntie. So I know that one day, if you do decide that you want to have kids, you'd be an amazing mum. Honestly, I know women that genuinely don't want to have kids. And some people do. Does he want kids?
Yeah, he does.
Oh, yeah.
Not now. Like we're in such a good space with each other, and we're so selfish with each other.
Just
like
enjoying each other's time, eh?
Yeah, and we're in no rush to have children. Like, he's always voiced to me that he wants children, but not now. We're too career focused. Maybe after we travel and have a few more years.
Life.
Yeah,
your prime. Like you, honestly, both of you.
Yeah,
you're really doing well with your own self and your own life. Like, I think choose a time.
Yeah,
there's a time for everything. Because you're with somebody who's so supportive and loving and very like patient, I think.
Why did you highlight patient, babe? Anyways, that was a great D&M session. That's our safe space to like just share vulnerability and it's hard to do that sometimes. It's not always easy to open up about it's real life. So that's always one of the hardest things is to tell your own story. So I appreciate you for that.
Thank you. Thanks so much for even asking.
But we're going to move into our closing segment, and it's called These Are My Confessions. This week's confessions is what is the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to you in public. We put this out to social media, and this is what we got. You want to start?
Yeah. Got a backhand from my dad. It's funny now, but wasn't funny then. I think we've all been backhanded by
we can all relate. And it's
somebody. If it ain't your dad, it's your brother.
And when you're in public and you get a backhand from your parent, and then they say, "What are you crying for? Do you want me to give you something to cry about?"
Yeah. that's the most common Māori phrase. I tell you.
And you're sitting there with tears running down your eyes, but you've got to have a straight face, and it's like, get it together. Yeah, we've all been there. Can relate. It's always embarrassing. Shat myself at basketball. They didn't even elaborate on the story, so I'm really interested to see what happened. Like, did you have baby wipes in the car?
How did you deal with that?
Was it running down your leg? Was it, were you shooting at the time and you shat yourself? Were you playing at the time? Was it indoor? Was it outdoor? I've got so many questions, but it was just shat myself at basketball.
That was brave to admit too.
Yeah, because...
Was that anonymous?
No, it wasn't anonymous, but I'm trying to create a space where people can just write it in, because I know that if it's an embarrassing thing, you don't want the whole world to know, you don't want me to know that that's what happened. So I am trying to come up with a way where you can send it in anonymously. But thank you for sharing that.
Next one. My mum was yelling at the ladies at McDonald's, but all my friends worked there at the time. So I laid down in the back seat. But then my mum started yelling at me to check the bag by using my name. And let's just say I don't have a common name. FML.
Oh my gosh. You know what? I can relate to this because my mum's a yeller.
Your mum's just authentically her though. And do you know what's so funny that you say that? Because you're the exact same.
That's why we clash.
You have so many similarities to your mum. Like your personalities are very, they're the same.
Yeah. So I feel for you. For whoever's mum that was. They must have been young. The next one, I was waiting in line for the toilet at a festival and couldn't hold it in anymore. I was doing the piss my pants dance, the one where you're holding your crotch. Then slowly I started pissing myself. It just started running down my leg.
Damn.
And I left a puddle. I was still standing in line, and then the guy came out and I didn't need to go anymore.
Oh, I've got a lot to say about this one, actually. The guy came out and I didn't need to go anymore. This is one thing that at festivals, okay? I don't know why men or males feel the need to use the toilets. Honestly, I think that men can just pull it out anywhere and go anywhere. But women, we can't. We actually have to go to the toilet. So
maybe it's a pride thing for the men.
Yeah.
If you know, like. But you know what? My thing is at festivals, like, I went to Promised Land last year, and if it was anything like Promised Land, or if it was Promised Land, those lines are huge.
Yep.
Who was behind you, sis? Like, well, you know, like, surely someone saw that's happening. You know, like, surely someone saw that's happening. And then you're dancing around for, like, however long you're waiting for, and then you, oh, no, all good, you go. You know?
No, you should not have let anyone go. You should have just
gone and cleaned up.
I would have pushed in front and been like, fight me later. All good.
Ladies first. But
honestly, but men, don't use the toilets. You're holding up the females' toilets. These okay.
And actually, fun fact: when I went to Juicy Fest, because I love going to festivals, but when I went to Juicy Fest, there was actually urinators for males at the back of the portaloos. There's actually a second section for males just to use like urinators, and where they
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, and so I'm out here fighting with the guys in the line. I just go use the urinators. Clearly, you're not going to toilet to go piss, but yeah, there's actually urinators. So if you're a male and you're at a festival, go check behind the portaloos because there might be another way for you to piss, which will leave more time for us to not wait in line all the time.
Okay, and also females, okay, we have weak pelvic muscles.
Anyways, in closing, we're going to play a game where I ask you 3 questions and you just answer with the first thing that comes to mind. So I'm just going to go ahead, and you can't even actually just...
Okay.
You can't... First thing that comes to you, you've got like a second to answer it. Okay. If you had a superpower, what would it be?
Read minds.
Oh, yeah. One thing you're grateful for?
My son.
If you were in an elevator full of people, would you rather do a loud fart or a stink one?
What is this question? A stink one.
What, are you going to blame someone else?
Well, they wouldn't know who did it.
Okay,
So you would rather do a loud fart?
Well, I'd be like, oopsie. Like, does become cute. You know, like, or like, not stinks, they might be like, ooh.
They might laugh and then, I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's got to be an icebreaker, but
Yeah,
I'd rather allow them because it's an
horrible.
icebreaker. But if you have a stink one, they'll think differently of you. They
Yeah,
might be
Def's like, what's going on with her insides?
what has she been eating? So I'd be like, yeah, like a cute little loud one.
Yep.
And they'd be like, oopsie.
Oh, sorry. Pardon.
Yeah, oh. What was that? You know, like, have you seen Big Mama? It's oops. You know,
But she's like, okay.
don't do that. Don't do that. You know, like, I'm sorry.
I won't talk about, okay.
Yeah. Just do it.
So just, someone will do a loud fart.
Yeah, I would do
And
a
I'll
loud
do a stink
fart.
one.
No, I mean, I get so embarrassed, but I'd do a loud fart. Yeah. Thank you for being my first guest on Thinking Out Loud, and for being vulnerable and who you are and playing a big part of my life. I couldn't imagine doing this podcast as my first episode with anyone else but you. And I honestly wish you nothing but success, love, light, and I just can't wait to see you flourish, because I feel like your life is now just starting again. And this is just the beginning for you in winter.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm honestly grateful that you caught me before I left.
I know.
Yeah, this will be cool memories to look back on one day, like your first ever podcast, and a fun one at that. So yeah, I really love you. I really do, and I treasure our friendship.
With that, you guys, I want to love and leave you. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to tune in and listen to what we have to say. Episodes will be dropping every second Monday. Stay tuned. All love, your favorite self-care enthusiasts.